Welcome back to Good Morning Arklamas. It is time for this week's Theater Talk with Taylor and Tyler, and we are talking about a show that I personally am very, very excited about, the Strauss Youth Academy for the Arts performance of Disney's Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, the kids are taking on the classic musical fairy tale starting this weekend, and a musical of the size is no easy undertaking.
No, so I've been really lucky in that I've had the pleasure to be the assistant director and choreographer for this show, working alongside executive director Walter Allen and music director Lynette Murphy. We've been working with these kids since January, right at the very beginning of the year when they got back from Christmas break, and they have put in more than 100 hours on the show.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, with Beauty and the Beast, it's a Disney classic. Adults and young people have seen it alike, and of course, the big thing with a show like this is obviously the music, and with such big roles like this, for such young kids, it was a huge undertaking. Of course, you, Taylor, had an opportunity to talk to the main characters of the show. Here's what they had to say about such challenging roles.
The audience knows it, and they can play along if they want to, you know.
Whenever I hear the prologue, I'm just like, oh,
the prologue
my
is
heart
gorgeous.
melts. It's so good.
It's really pretty, and it's like a fairy tale. It just sounds like something that you watched when you were little.
It's kind of intimidating because this is like the classic that everyone knows and everyone loves.
And of course, what's music without a little dancing? Or I guess I should say a lot of dancing. The show is very, very heavy on big musical numbers that feature the entire cast, kids from the ages of 8 to 18.
Yeah, and so obviously we'll have a little chance to talk a little in a minute here about the double casting, but because it's double casted, everybody has to know so many different parts. Not only do you have to know the main parts, but you also have to know the dancing for the ensemble as well.
Yeah, and they had a lot to say about the dancing. Check this out.
A lot of the dancers are very hard, but they're also very fun.
Mesmerizing.
Enchanting.
Challenging.
So big. The choreo is big.
Yeah, so of course with characters like this, we know Gaston, we know Belle, but some of even the smaller roles in this show were also a big undertaking as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the big challenge that comes here is these are cartoon characters, and it's hard to bring them to life on stage because they're obviously people, you know? And so finding that line between reality and fantasy
and bringing it to life and actually, you know, bringing it to life on stage.
Yeah, right? And let me tell you, these kids are young, but they are so serious when it comes to creating the characters and connecting with the audience. Take a listen.
I position myself as if I was the character, not what the character would do, and then I start to think about how I would do it, because then I start to associate myself with, in this case, the beast, and so it almost comes naturally.
I watched some actual animal documentaries to see how animals correct what they deem wrong.
Say a fight scene, a cartoon, you can have people punch each other willy-nilly or get stabbed and stuff. It's really easy. But in a real life stage thing, it's a little harder.
All right, now, as we mentioned a little earlier, Taylor, this show is double cast. You, being the assistant director of the show, how has that been for these kids, especially at such a young age?
So a lot of them say that it's helpful because they have somebody to bounce ideas off of and, you know, try different things out. And it's also kind of reassuring because they have a backup for learning lines and dance moves and things like that.
Yeah, and what I think will also be really good about this performance-wise is that depending on what night you go to see the show, you're going to get a different take because each of these kids are playing the characters completely different.
Absolutely. Take a listen to what they had to say.
Because it's really nice to have someone to bounce ideas off of, especially if I find myself stuck in a certain place where I don't know how I want to play a certain line or a certain word. It's nice to have someone to go to and ask, you know, how are you viewing this? What do you think I should do?
Because both of us have are better at certain things, like Scarlett's better at dancing and I'm better at singing.
Yeah.
And we're both aware of this.
And of course, the show opens this weekend. It opens Saturday, so we have performances on Saturday and Sunday, and then next weekend as well on Saturday and Sunday.
What's so awesome about this, too, is that schools are getting a chance to make a trip to the theater to get to see it for themselves. So if they're not able to see it on the weekend, they're certainly making a trip to the theater during school time to go and see it, and so they're getting to miss a little class, too.
Yeah, and you know what? It's so important for kids to have this opportunity to get out there and develop an arts education.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great, and I'm looking forward to my favorite part, the teapot, when she says, Beauty and the Beast. Did I hit it right?
It'd be hard for you to not sing along.
Did I sing it better than her?
You know, I think the girls may have you beat there.
All right. For now, we're going to send things over to Dylan Robichaud for a check of your forecast. Good morning, Dylan.